As we start to see signs of life once again in the market, it's important to reflect on where we've been as well as to know where we're going. Ideally, you want to learn from your mistakes, things you missed, and whatever else the market is trying to teach you. Just like the ebb and flow of the ocean, the market is going to go up and it's going to go down. It's the natural order of things. Try not to take it personally. Instead, look at how far we've come and how exciting the unwritten future is ahead of us. And remember, it's your job to go against the herd. When fear, uncertainty, and doubt are permeating the market, you need to have the proclivity for optimism and seeing opportunity where others see rapture. Yes, it's the classic line of be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. But I'll include an addendum to say that you focus on what you fear, which is to say you're not trading against the market, you're trading against yourself. So let's sharpen our saw, use bear markets to prepare for bulls, and let's develop habits of highly effective traders. Let's get in passion again for this moment, this space, this movement. This is Ready Set Crypto, and this is your brain on blockchain. So let's break down 5 lessons from this bear market so we can prepare for the bull. Now, I'm not saying a bull market is inevitable. It's highly likely we'll see a sell-off if the volume doesn't sustain the rally. What would be ideal is if we can preserve a sideways or slightly upward trend, consolidate support, and return some faith in the market. We could see another short squeeze, as we saw on Thursday, as thousands of new shorts were placed with the New York Attorney General inquiry into crypto exchange news, which all things considered has an ominous title, but is actually good news as it's non-compulsory and is meant to increase transparency, which is something we all should want with centralized exchanges. We could see a textbook double bottom reversal with February 6th and April 1st serving as the bottoms respectively. Ideally, I'd like to see us print a bull pennant that convinces the last of the weak hands and moon boys to give up before we rocket to the upside. But honestly, there's a lot of different ways that this can pan out, and don't believe anyone who tries to convince you of what will happen with certainty, including me. Okay, so the first lesson of this bear is that we need to capitalize on these moments and work on our habits. If you were to tell people buying Bitcoin 2 years ago that the coin they bought for $150 would one day sell for $20,000, they'd likely be shocked. Unfortunately, we can't put ourselves in their likely now fancy shoes, but we can decide how we're going to operate in this moment and the next and the next. And we're going to make decisions that we'll look back on and say, thank you, past me. You know, something tells me that 2 years from now, we'll look back to this year and say, oh, if only I had done that. Well, part of that is developing a strategy. When I think of strategy and how to be an effective trader or investor, I think it comes down to habits. I specifically look at the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Now, it's a bit old school being 3 decades old, but the wisdom is definitely still relevant to what we're doing here today. Covey talks about habits as being the intersection of knowledge, skills, and desire. I think that's a really succinct way to internalize why you're making mistakes, or why you don't feel like you're trading at the level you could be. By identifying key pieces of knowledge you're lacking, by more adequately summating your desires, and by honing your skills, you can start to be a master of habits that make you a highly effective person and trader. For example, everyone makes a New Year's resolution to lose weight, but so many fail because going to the gym doesn't become habitual for them. I mean, I'm certainly guilty of that, and maybe you are too. So instead of just making a goal to lose weight, better define your desire. I want to lose X amount of pounds, and then make sure the goalposts are able to move. It's like the act of climbing a mountain and then realizing there's nowhere to continue going up. Instead, you've got to look at the horizon and look at all the other mountains to climb. In addition, you've got to better expand your knowledge. Read books on diet, be very specific about how you plan to enforce your keto diet or whatever, and learn how to effectively work out so you're working smarter and not harder, and you're honing your skills as well. This will make becoming physically fit second nature, a habit. Starting isn't that hard, but it's keeping it up every day. That's the hard part. Okay, so I know we're here to talk about crypto, and hopefully you see that this is sort of the beauty to having a holistic life, and I truly believe that by programming your subconscious through habits, you can achieve really great things. So that's the point I'm trying to get at here. Crypto trading is just a subset of you as a person. If you can be a master of your own mind and willpower and perseverance, then you can be a master of crypto trading as well. I said in the intro, you focus on what you fear, but I think a poignant and different way to say that is a quote by Tony Robbins when he says, focus on where you want to go, not on what you fear. It's this sort of forward-looking mentality that I apply to crypto and a lot of other aspects in my own life. Yes, we can be afraid of this bear market, but it's so much more exciting to look forward and realize that this is just one moment of many in the storied history of crypto. As I said in my video about the different streams of making income with cryptocurrency, never lose sight of what drives you. It needs to motivate you through all the bad days so you can experience the good ones. Motivation is the key to controlling your destiny. Which brings me to one of my favorite quotes of all time. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Which is by far the best summary I could possibly think of when it comes to stressing my point about how habits form you as a person. Bad habits make you a bad person. Good habits make you a good person. And great habits make you a highly effective person. After all, you choose who you want to be. So the second lesson is to diversify income. So let's talk about income. There's two types of income, active and passive. Active income is what you're probably used to. This is a job. Look at the two words. You were actively trading your most precious resource in life, time, for an income. Active income. Most people think this is how you get rich, by getting a better job, but it may come as a surprise that it hardly ever works out this way. Next is passive income. It's payment not directly tied to active work. Don't mistake passive income for zero work, however. It's still work, but it's just that your income is not directly tied to the hours worked. My challenge to you is that you need to maximize the amount of passive income streams in your life. I've got another video discussing 57 different ways to make both passive and active income with cryptocurrency, and I definitely recommend you check it out if expanding your income streams sounds like a good idea. My takeaway from this bear market was that even when the market was at its worst, we were still making money every day because we had diversified our income streams. And that really helps to keep the faith that we're in the right place at the right time. And that's also a really nice segue into our next lesson, which is that crypto is not going anywhere. Admittedly, I've been very bullish during this bear cycle, perhaps to a fault. I'm in this stuff every day, and based on everything I've seen, I'm 100% convinced that we're not going anywhere. I think this has been the 8th bubble and burst cycle that Bitcoin has faced. There's sites like Bitcoin Obituaries that tracks every time someone declares that Bitcoin is dead, and spoiler alert, it's still here and it's doing great. So maybe this wasn't your 8th bubble and burst cycle, but hopefully you can see that Bitcoin and crypto isn't dead. We're all still here, and those that stuck around are the ones that actually care about the space in some respect. Yes, the hodler mantra can be a bit delusional sometimes, but the basic premise is that no matter what, we're just getting started here. What's great is that if you read a lot of the crypto forums out there, and you compare what it was like at the end of December and early January versus now, it's like we went from elementary school to college in 3 months. Discussions back then were all about price, and moons, and Lambos, and moon Lambos, and frankly it was just not healthy. You can't sustain such a speculative market on fairy dust and promises, and this is what people were pointing to when crypto imploded. They pointed their finger and said, aha, I knew it was all a scam. Which is such a disservice to the greater space because yes, there were scams and yes, there were scammers. But there's also really promising technology here and people working hard every day to make it a reality. What was great about this recent bear cycle is that it exposed a lot of the trash we had accumulated in 2017. Nobody has to sit through terrible ads about BitConnect anymore. Over half of the ICOs from 2017 have already failed. Many of the YouTubers that had terrible ulterior motives have been exposed for the charlatans that they are. Sure, you can lament all of that, but think about those projects that are still around. Think about those who held through the downturn because the promise is more important than the price. The way I see it, a bear market is like a forest fire. Yes, it seems terrible, but once it's over, the forest grows back stronger, and in our case, the market takes a new direction. Looking at the big picture, this was healthy for us, and if this was your first bear market, then hopefully you can learn this lesson so next time we see a bear market, it doesn't hurt as much and you're better prepared. Speaking of preparation, the next lesson is security. So owning crypto as an asset isn't quite the lawless Wild West experience it was at the beginning of the decade, but investors still face plenty of fluctuation and risk. The threats aren't just abstract or theoretical. New scams crop up, and old ones resurge all the time. Whether it's a fake wallet set up to trick users, a phishing attempt to steal private cryptographic keys, or fake cryptocurrency schemes, there's something to watch out for at every turn. Cryptocurrencies can feel secure because they decentralize and often anonymize digital transactions. They also validate everything on public, tamper-resistant blockchains. But those measures don't make cryptocurrencies any less susceptible to the types of simple, time-honored scams since the beginning of time itself. When it comes down to it, all scams play off people's greed or ignorance. A few simple steps, though, can help you be guarded against a swath of common attacks. It pays to put a little effort in how you manage your cryptocurrency. For example, a key step to protecting your cryptocurrency is to store anything of significant value in a hardware wallet. It's a physical device like a USB drive that stores your private keys and currency locally and isn't connected to the internet. No matter what, please don't store a large amount of coins through cryptocurrency exchanges or in digital wallet apps on your smartphone, for example. Wallets connected to the public-facing internet offers an attacker too many inroads to attempt to infiltrate your wallet or to trick you into giving them access. If you're interested in the topic of security, I'm going to be expanding upon it in a webinar I'm giving tonight entitled 10 Rules for Securing Your Crypto in 2018, your primer on wallets and security. Check out the description for a link and definitely make security a priority if you don't already. So for our last lesson today, it's a pretty simple one, but I guarantee you that most people trading crypto don't do it. Are you ready? Here it is. Plan. Yeah, that's right. Imagine you wanted to build a house, or a Lego kit, or some IKEA furniture. Without a plan or a manual, you just jump in and start building. But what if you get stuck? What if by not planning, you've put yourself in a position of distinct disadvantage? I understand that with crypto, it can be exciting, and if you learn about some hot new coin that's definitely going to be worth billions someday, it can be tempting to bet the farm in an instant. But my challenge to you is to look before you leap. After all, if you fail to plan to fail, right? With crypto, and really any trading or investing you do, you should be able to answer 4 distinct questions before you enter the position. First, why? This is always the most important question for anything. Why am I buying or selling this cryptocurrency? Why am I buying or selling at this price? One trick that's helped me tremendously when weighing my actions is to imagine what the person on the other side of the transaction is hoping to achieve from acting inversely of me. If I'm selling, who's buying my crypto? If I'm buying, why is that person selling? I know this first point represents a plethora of potential questions, but stopping to ask yourself why and imagining you have to explain your rationale to your parents or significant other is certainly a nice way to prevent FOMO buying or FUD selling. The second question you should ask yourself should happen before you get into a position. Let me reiterate, before you enter. Not after, before. Clear? Good. Before you enter a position, you need to ask yourself where you get out. This first question should consider what happens if you get in and the price immediately tanks. Where are you going to set the stop loss, if at all? If you're not setting a stop loss, why? Knowing your exit before you get into a position will help you so much in the future, it should be a plaque above your bed. The third question is the obvious inverse of the second. Before you get into a position, where do you plan to get out should this crypto go up? Where do you plan to take profit? If you don't plan to get out anytime soon, why are you holding this asset long term? What do you think is the benefit of doing so versus going after short-term gains? Remember that opportunity cost is one of the most important factors you need to consider as an investor or trader. Sure, you could make money on one asset over a year when it eventually goes up, but you could have made a whole lot more money going after other assets in the short term. Remember to never get emotionally attached to an asset, both in the case of losses and gains. The last question is in regard to how you plan to manage your position. Are you going to check in on it? When? What are you looking for from a project's dev team that's worth holding for? What are you looking for in the trade indicators that would tell you to buy or sell? This question will be based heavily on your personal experience. If you made a mistake in the past, what will you do to prevent it from happening with this trade or investment? What are you going to do better this time? So looking at today's market, if you're a buy and hold hodler, then I believe now is the time that you can start to nibble on some longs if you want to acquire long term. And remember, that's nibble, not plunge. And if you're a trader, then remain patient for established uptrends to hit markets, after which dips can be utilized. Overall, having a strategic plan will put you so far ahead of your peers because you'll start to operate like a professional and not like the herd. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already in order to continue to see high quality cryptocurrency analysis and advice. Don't forget to hit the bell right next to the subscribe button in order to be notified when we put out a new video. Also be sure to watch some of our other videos and visit our website, where we've got more free cryptocurrency education, a free intro course, a free book, and a free newsletter, so definitely check us out. Thanks again for watching. This has been Ready Set Crypto, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.